Hello everyone, and welcome to my game of Warships. Today's replay is from IronPriestCsGo, and he is in the Conqueror. Tier 10 British battleship. He's on the map Sea of Fortune in a ranked battle. Now there's no carrier and there is only one destroyer. There's also only 2 cruisers. So our friendly Shimakaze here is heading for the sea cap, which is alright. The problem is the Stalingrad is already spotted. Now that Stalingrad is in position to raid everything. But the Shimakaze shouldn't have much problem escaping if he plans for it. Like, this Shimakaze needs an exit strategy. There might have been a good idea to reverse into the cap because the Stalingrad's already spotted. And this means the Stalingrad could radar him right now. And he's even smoking up here. Like, this Shimakaze needs to get his nose pointed away because once the radar hits, he needs to, well, dodge. Also, I mean, we saw the gearing. The gearing is probably going to top this smoke anyway. It's also something to keep in mind. So, friendly Stalingrad is here to help out and is radaring, so maybe the friendlies can do something about this gear. But you see, that Shimakaze is taking way too much damage and he might not even make it out of there. It would have been so easy if the Shima just entered in there with his nose pointing away. He'd probably have, like, 5,000–6,000 more hit points left. But I mean, the Shima is still floating. And the enemy gearing took quite a hit, so that's nice. Now a Shimakaze is a sneaky torpedo boat, which means even with low health a Shimakaze can still be quite effective. He just has to be a little bit more careful. So over at the A side, well, I mean, we have 3 friendly ships here against 3 enemies about, so pretty even split actually by both teams. Then again, there is a Stalingrad who seems to be capping A currently. If the friendlies could get some vision on that, maybe they can even interrupt the Stalingrad. Now also I'd like to point out that once you have baited a raider as a destroyer and it's the only raider, you have an opportunity to go back in and take the cap. Now of course he doesn't have his smokes, like this is also why having a smoke still would be nice. Once the raider's on cooldown, you can only be spotted regularly, and then having a smoke becomes very powerful. But still, there is a nice opportunity. I mean, the Shimakaze is better stealth than the gearing, and if it reverse into it or something, the Shimakaze could now totally take the sea cap before the radar recharges. So that's a missed opportunity there. Meanwhile, of course, our Conqueror is just happily setting the world on fire. And he's actually the only one who is paying any attention to this cap here, which is kind of sad, because the friendly team is so invested in pushing around the cap that they are ignoring the actual objective. Over there we have the Kurfürst brawling with the Montana. Now, let's hope they don't ram. Like, Kurfürst, if he sails so close by the Montana, he should be able to actually citadel the Montana and take her out. Turns out he failed in that regard. He's actually, it looks like he's come out not worse there, so not very well handled by that Kurfürst. Let's see, maybe he can do some. Well, if he's so low on health, he should probably just ram the Yamato. If he can. Oh! Take out the Yamato, the old fresh. Okay, so Kurfürst definitely redeemed himself there. Nicely done by the Kurfürst. Meanwhile, obviously the Conqueror has to do the capping because nobody else will. Now the friendly Shimakaze ate the gearing torp here earlier, which is a bit unfortunate. I mean, you can always be surprised by torpedoes, it can happen. But the Shima should never have gone there, to be honest. He should have tried to take the sea cap instead. But anyway. The friendlies might be able to take the gearing here, and indeed they can. So both destroyers gone. But hey, at least we have a Conqueror taking caps. Now each team has 1 cap, although that Stalingrad almost has the center cap. If the friendlies can manage to interrupt that, that would be amazing. And well, I think the Stalingrad just left. Now I have a feeling that Yamato here is going to go down. Would be nice if the friendlies could sink that Stalingrad, but I doubt it right now. So anyway, we have 2 enemy battleships here in the far north. Those are not the most useful ships right there. They pose a threat because if like the Conqueror would just sail into B right now, he would be showing broadside to those guys, and that can be a little bit problematic. On the bright side is a Conqueror is definitely well suited for a long-range engagement with other battleships because of the very powerful high explosive, and armor piercing tends to be rather unreliable and not doing so well against an angled battleship anyway. But Iron Priest is focusing this Stalingrad. Now would have been a good shot for armor piercing, but he didn't know that the Stalingrad would be showing this much broadside here. Tripping over my own tongue here. But anyway, maybe the Minotaur can take out the Stalingrad. Now the Stalingrad is a big threat because he has radar, and the Minotaur has good concealment and smoke. They even mentioned earlier, chat, that he has smoke instead of radar. So taking out that Stalingrad would make life a lot easier for the Minotaur. And the Minotaur succeeded. Nice. Well, it's still 3 against 3, it's almost equal on points. Minotaur seems to be on pretty low health, but the Republic should go down soon. And the Montana here is still pretty healthy. Minotaur is a little bit of a risk, but this is a good concealment and smoke, so Minotaur should be fine for now. Now, the friendlies really should think about taking A and B cap. The Minotaur might not want to risk it because he's on low health, and, well, I mean, the Hindenburg might also have Hydro equipped. And that could become rather troublesome in this close quarters fight here for B. It's also like if the Minotaur goes in there, he can't spot the Hindenburg, so he might be surprised by his Hindenburg with Hydro just sailing in there. Now, meanwhile, Republic went down, and now the Kurfürst remains. Now, Kurfürst, great brawling battleship, not so good at long ranges. I mean, the Montana is better at long ranges, and obviously the Conqueror is a lot better at long ranges. So this Kurfürst is playing to his own weakness, which you probably shouldn't do. So right now, this Kurfürst is just like floating experience. Unless he gets monumentally lucky, the way this Kurfürst handles it, he's doomed. Like, this isn't even can't even call this a fight. Like, at long ranges against an angled Conqueror in a Kurfürst, what you gonna do? The only thing you're gonna do is burn and sink. What the Kurfürst needs to do is need to get close and get his secondaries into the fight. But anyway, I mean, obviously if the Conqueror shows broadside and the Kurfürst gets rather lucky, then there is some potential, although at this range with Kurfürst guns, you shouldn't expect too much, I suppose. Now, Iron Priest here wants to support that Minotaur. He's realized that, well, maybe instead of farming that Kurfürst, he might help out the Minotaur and try to secure the B camp. Unfortunately, the Minotaur got taken out, and it's exactly what I feared was happening. Like, the Minotaur tried to go into B, but that means he didn't have any spotting, so he was ambushed away, I guess, by the Hindenburg through the gap. Now, still looking rather good for the friendlies, I guess. It's 2 against 2 ships, the Kurfürst is low. Now, they lost the spotting on the Kurfürst, which, yes, the Kurfürst has wisened up and realized he isn't winning the long-range fight. Maybe it just dropped into concealment to get a heal off, and he might actually be re-engaging here, because the Kurfürst really should try to meet up with the Hindenburg. But then again, looks like the Kurfürst just wasted his stealth in order to get shots off. And I guess he's going to burn again. And there's a high caliber. Now, we know the Hindenburg's inside B, and the Hindenburg has torpedoes. I might have tried to get a heal off a little bit earlier, to be honest, just to have another heal ready. I mean, the heal is on a very huge cooldown. At this point, it's good to not heal, I guess, because you can get more out of the heal than this. And it wouldn't recharge for the next fight anyway. So, Kurfürst is still nicely and crispy burnt down. There is a Widerer, and now only the Hindenburg is remaining. Now, there is still 7 minutes left. Like, the issue is the Hindenburg has torpedoes. If the Hindenburg manages to ambush that Conqueror with torps, this might... yeah, this might still go in the enemy's favor. He's used his heal here and you see 2 minutes cooldown. Now I would have either used that heal earlier or still waited a tiny bit longer. Because yes, we're expecting the engagement now, and use the heal when the engagement starts might have given him a few more hit points out of it. Now we saw devastating high explosive salvo. I would have immediately switched to armor piercing here, because armor pierce... I realized that armor piercing is sometimes not that reliant. So he took 3 torps here, and he's taking quite a few more. He gets damage count, but he's still alive though. And well, enemy Minotaur fire is coming in, and there are a few more hits there. Hindenburg is burning quite nicely. Yeah, I mean at this point you can just stick with high explosive, I guess. So will he... Hindenburg failed to sink him. And it looks like he won't fail in return, cause the Hindenburg is still burning quite nicely. We still have a few shots out, and double kill.
We sank an enemy.
And what I meant with that is they sunk each other. So yeah, here we are with some results, and Iron Priest had certainly a good game. He could have handled the brawl a bit better in the end, but there is no doubt that he carried this whole battle. Scoring 220,000 points of damage, sinking 4 enemies, and even capping. I think it was the only cap they got, so yeah. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you guys next time.